Welcome to the Living Ageless and Bold podcast. Each episode, I bring you amazing women who inspire, educate, and share their experiences and journeys along the way. So grab a glass of wine or a cup of coffee, find a cozy spot, and let's relax and have some fun hearing what can be accomplished after 55. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Living Ageless and Bold. This is a new one for me. I've got 3 guests, so we'll see how this goes. It's going to be really fun because I love speaking with women over 50 who are reinventing with purpose. And 2 of our guests today are over 50. We'll get into that too. So Morris Espy, I have known for a long time. She was on Fox 5 for 25 years. If you're in the DC area, you know her from morning television. She's a staple. Brooks Kenny is in business development and marketing and has a passion for things like Alzheimer's and dementia. We're going to talk about that's a big part of their purpose. And Sondra Hoffman, I believe, is a casting director and very into fashion and fitness. So we are going to figure out how these 3 very different women all came together for this amazing company that they've created, Moorlow, that is pickleball with a purpose. So ladies, welcome to the show.
We're so excited to be here. Thank you for having us. And thank you for letting us be the first group to be on.
I know. I'm really excited. So Holly, let's start with you because we go back a little bit and I do know you and I feel like everybody's bringing their own piece to this. So obviously you were in television. Let's just talk a little bit about, how you started. I think you were an engineering grad from college. How do you get into TV as an engineer?
Right? I have quite the journey. But really it's all connected and it's all brought me to this point. I think that's probably what's the most fun right now. But so I am an educated engineer, civil and environmental engineering, from Duke University. And then I, as one does, goes into television and did TV news for 31 years. And now I'm an entrepreneur, starting an apparel line with a purpose. Don't you see the connection? It's obvious, right? Here is the connection, actually, with my engineering degree through it all. And I say this all the time. I use my engineering degree every day because what it does is it teaches you to solve problems. It teaches you to take in massive amounts of information and process it. It teaches you how to work with others when you're on group projects. I did all of that in college. I'm still doing all of that today. And I did all of that all the time that I worked through television. It also makes you understand what you don't know and how to ask the right questions to become more knowledgeable yourself and just understand how things work. So again, I used all of that through my decades of being in TV. But then my decades of being in TV naturally led me to this because telling a story, getting a brand narrative out there, that's what I'm doing right now with Moorlow, but also building a company, learning every day. When I was out in the field reporting on different things, I had to learn something new every day and then be the expert on it, right? And what I didn't know, I had to ask intelligent questions and figure it out. That's what we do every day now and have for the last 2 years with Moorlow. So every part of my life has contributed to the next and yet has been a constant running through the whole thing. And so in terms of more specifically, like my TV to now, my final years of being in TV, every other story was about pickleball, good or bad. I'm like, this is a thing. When it came to health news, all of a sudden people were talking about their brain health more and more. It's becoming part of the national conversation. I had these 2 amazing women in my life. One who is everything about fashion and knows all about that world. The other who is sought after for her knowledge and her work with brain health. And I love to have a glass of wine with both of them. So it was natural for me to bring these 2 amazing women together and for us all 3 to embark on something. And while we're crazy different, we are also awesomely the same. And the synergy of the 3 of us is what we like to call the magic behind Moorlow, which is our brand.
And I love Holly. We have a mutual friend, Laura Evans, who was also on Fox for a long time. And I started her journey with her when she left the news. And she, as you know, she has this incredibly successful business. And I don't know how you news anchors go into entrepreneurship, but you guys are killing it. It really, and it must be like you said, just the years and years of listening and acting, and it's incredible. And I know you guys are going to be successful. Okay, let's move over to Brooks, who you're kind of the business side of this from what I saw, business development, marketing, and your passion for brain health, which is what you all are working on. So let's talk about your background a little bit, what you bring to the company in this next phase, your reinvention stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks so much again for having us. So I have been in healthcare marketing and business development my whole career. I have a master's in public health and health education, and I always believed in applying marketing principles to healthcare would be really meaningful work. And so I would say a through line of my work has always been wanting to advance social causes, whether it's mental health, women's brain health, Alzheimer's disease, heart disease. I've worked on a lot of different consumer education campaigns to try to really advance, good work out there. I've also had my own business off and on over the years. I've worked for agencies. I've had my own consulting firm. I've worked for nonprofits. So I've kind of thread that needle throughout my career. And I've also been part of startups. And the last one I was in didn't really work out. And so I kind of took some time off and had a lot of reflection. I started my own consulting firm, boutique, with some select clients, which really allowed me to think bigger about what I might want to do next. And Holly and I had been talking about starting something meaningful for years. And she introduced me to Sondra, and the idea really started in her backyard, saying, we've got so much in common. We have such different areas of expertise. And really, that's how Moorlow was born, to say, we want to focus on pickleball, this amazing trend, Sondra's fashion expertise, my focus on brain health, and we kind of brought it all together. And one thing that's been true from the beginning, we all wanted to support philanthropy. We wanted there to be a social cause connected to our brand right from the start. And I think among all of our differences, that is one of the things that we kind of came together on back in April. What is it? April of 23 in Holly's backyard. I love building things. I'm an entrepreneur. Some of my friends are like, what are you doing now? And I say, yeah, this is what fuels me. It excites me. I think about it 24/7. And I'm really so comforted to be doing it with women, because I think so many female entrepreneurs, when they go out on their own and they're alone doing it, you can really be crippled by fear and anxiety and imposter syndrome. And is this the right thing for me? And the fact that the three of us can come together, as Holly said, and we problem solve every minute of the day. I'm revealing my age. We do a lot of that over text, which has been a new growth for me. I'm an email gal. But it's just been a joy. It's been hard, and it's been a joy. And I think that's what entrepreneurship is all about. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. But right. I think there's more good, of course, than anything else. So.
And it's good you guys all bring in different aspects of it. I had a very successful boutique retail store in Haymarket, which at the time was blighted, a blighted town. And people were like, what are you two doing? You're crazy. But we did it. And we were polar opposites, best friends, but polar opposites. And that's why it was successful, because we each brought our strengths in. So Sondra, you are the fashion gal, like you are, and we haven't really talked about what Moorlow is. So why don't you talk more about that and the fashion piece of it? And then we'll talk more about the purpose part, because I love that. And she's our baby in the group, but most of the women over 50 that I interview, when they're starting these next chapters, these next businesses, they're all for a purpose. It's their passion, but they're all giving back somehow, some way. And that's really, I love that about women our age. So Sondra, you're learning from us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I honestly find that I surround myself with, I would say, I'm not going to say older. I have to come up with a better word with that, but more established women around me always. I always have surrounded myself with more established women because I learn more from them. And honestly, I'm I call myself an old soul anyways. But no, I've actually only worked for one company though, for 16 years. So this is a new chapter for me because unlike, other people in my age who've jumped from job to job, I've actually been with the same company for 16 years. First job, even that I interned with in college, at a talent agency in DC, representing models, actors, celebrity hair and makeup artists, wardrobe stylists. So I've really had my foot in a lot of different pots in the fashion industry, working with photographers, working with celebrity hair and makeup artists, wardrobe stylists, doing photo shoots, working with fashion show producers. So I've had a lot of different elements of the fashion world, which has really helped with Moorlow, because I've not only been able to help with sketching the designs, and that's really just a side passion. My husband and I, would go on an airplane ride to some vacation, and I was like, "Ugh, I don't love what I brought," and I'd sketch out a new outfit, and I was like, "I wish someone would create this. This is what I wanted to bring on this trip." And he's like, "Well, babe, sorry, that doesn't exist. Maybe one day you'll create it." And so I've always wondered. I knew I would create something. I just didn't know exactly what it would be, and when Moorlow came to be, a lot of my girlfriends who know me growing up and knew what I love to do and design, they said, well, this is perfect because you're obsessed with racket sports, pickleball, you're obsessed with working out, and you're obsessed with fashion. And you've always wanted to do some kind of philanthropy component. And they were like, this is like your third baby, because I have two. So it kind of became just this amazing thing that I didn't know which avenue I was ever going to go in the fashion industry or in the brand development industry. And this just seems to perfectly marry all of the things that I truly care about and are my passions, all kind of in one beautiful little package. It's Moorlow. And you wanted to talk a little bit about the brand, the style. The one beautiful thing about our brand is that it's obviously bright and it's fun, but everything can be mixed and matched. So we wanted to make sure that maybe not all of the consumers that are out there that are super fashion savvy, we took the guesswork out of it for them. So we created pieces that every top can go with every bottom. You can see here, I've got this white pullover. Brooks is in the baseline. Holly's in the Holly dress. But every single thing, every top and bottom, you could wear this with Holly's dress. You could wear that with this. I've got our skirt on that everything could be worn with. So it's one of those things where you can create a new outfit and take the guesswork out, but also you're comfortable and you feel stylish and cute. And I think another big thing that we really wanted to empower women to feel confident in what they're wearing, because the number one thing we hear from women is they get a compliment on their outfit. It makes their day. Any kind of compliment. But if someone compliments you, you hold that with you. You carry that with you through the day and you feel better. And so we really wanted our customers to feel confident and know that they're giving back. And that also helps with the confident piece, is they're giving back to brain health research, but they also feel good in what they're wearing. And I think marrying both of those storylines is really what the magic of Moorlow is about.
And I want to say to the people listening and watching, because I had invented a product that needed to be manufactured and designed, and it's not easy. I mean, for you guys to come up with an idea to make designs, you have to have patterns made, and it's a lot of work. So it sounds so glamorous and exciting, and you guys are, beautiful and fun, and you look great. But let's talk a little bit about the process to get to this point. I mean, we all come up with good ideas, but you guys acted on that. And again, it's not easy manufacturing clothing. So, did you have help with that? Who was the one who knew how to do this? Because I fumbled through with my stuff, and literally, like, I went to a show with a template, and I'm like, can you make this? Can you make this? Can you make this? Like, I didn't know what I was doing.
Okay. Well, neither did we. So, I mean, to get to the point where we can say Moorlow is a pickleball performance wear with purpose, a lifestyle athleisure brand that seamlessly prioritizes looking good, feeling great, and actively supporting your brain health. It was a whole lot of mess to get there, right? Because while we could come up with great ideas, it's like, okay, well, how do you really make a brand? How do you bring it to fruition? And I will give a shout out to, I am on the engineering board at Duke University. And I was at one of my board meetings, and one of the people on the board, she also had created a successful brand line. And I went up to her and I was like, okay, Leslie, like, how do you make a brand? Like, how do you make a piece of clothing, that's not an Etsy shop? Like, we want to, you know what I mean? And she said, Holly, you just do it. She's like, the only difference between people that are successful and not successful are the people that are successful just do it. You know everybody in your life right now that can get you where you want to be. Because even if they don't know, they know someone that knows. And we have found that along the way that people really do want to be connectors. So we started putting it out there. We started asking questions of all the people in our world. And that got us to the fabric show in New York when Sondra was pregnant with her second child, like ready to give birth. And Brooks and I got on the train and went up to the Javits Center, and it was like overwhelming. And we're like, okay, here we go. We're just going to go in and we're going to look at, and we're going to ask questions. And we ended up, because we knew that we wanted to do a real quality product, and we were not going to compromise on fabric at all. We knew that fabric and feel was everything, because that's what we want, right? Like when we buy things. So we're like, we're not compromising there. We want, we were very, consistent and stayed focused on the fact that our product was going to stand out. It was going to be quality fabric. It was going to be custom trims. It was going to be standout stitching. People were going to be recognizing our collection on and off the court from the start. But we had no idea, like, I don't know, is it nylon, spandex, polyester? So Brooks and I we went booth to booth. We asked questions. We learned throughout the day. We went back to booths, whatever. And we came away with a certain amount of knowledge that at least made us seem like we were in the know. Like if you have this intellectual curiosity and the willingness and want to learn, you can. And that's what Brooks and I did that day. We started there. Then we kind of steamrolled into meeting people and got ourselves to this company called Fabric to Finish, which is out of New York. And they kind of take emerging designers stem to stern in terms of actually, making the patterns and doing all that. Sondra sketched the first line. We kind of bluffed our way through the first call with Brooks and I, like throwing out our fabric knowledge, and whatever. But long story short, I will say we also got introduced to a woman who is the chief merchandising officer for J. McLaughlin. She's one of our advisors, super helpful in helping us kind of learn this world. We have another amazing advisor who started her own line and has made a huge licensing deal with the NFL. So anyway, so we have had people help us along the way, but we found ourselves training up, looking at prototypes, seeing cuts, fits, learning about fit models, and I think I would just say we just did it. But I will also, and the girls can attest to this as well, as we went through, right, we're Googling, because this person we talked to from Fabric to Finish, she was always using like initials and acronyms, and we're like,
what is that?
And we're like Googling, and we're figuring it out, and then we're like, of course we knew that. So a lot of it is just acting like you're supposed to be there, right? Acting like you're supposed to be there. And so we were figuring out quantities. Okay, look, the world turned upside down in terms of tariffs. We're negotiating that. Next thing you know, we're on Zooms with people in Hong Kong. I mean, we're just doing it, and it's messy and it's hard. But when we didn't know, Sondra had an attorney friend that got on the call with us from Hong Kong. Like we pulled our resources together and we worked through it. And like Brooke said, we problem solved every day from the start and continue now until our like bulk shipment arrived in Brooks's driveway 2 weeks ago, and we're packaging it. So, I mean, we always said we wanted to get our hands dirty and we wanted to know how to do it. We are smart enough to know what we don't know and have pulled in people to help us through that. But we've always been there throughout the whole process, making sure we've understood the whole way.
Yeah, and I would love to add, Christina, that almost everyone who's connected us with who we need to know has been women. So it has been women connecting us with other women to get us to where we need to be, which is really impressive. That there are a lot of women that want to support other women out there.
And I have learned this through the podcast, like speaking to, like big editors of magazines from way back when. And they talked about, it was kind of the men that would stir the pot with the women. So they would compete against each other. She's like, if you just let us be, we're great. Like women are very supportive of other women. So that's awesome. I love hearing that. All right, let's talk about the brain health. I've had several people on the podcast. I don't know if you all are familiar with Melissa Batchelor from GW. She's amazing. She's been on the podcast several times. She's the preeminent expert in Alzheimer's dementia, and we're not all going to get dementia. We're not all going to get Alzheimer's. I think everyone's so afraid of that. So tying this lifestyle pickleball, because we know that having an active lifestyle helps to reduce your risk of that. So let's talk, I guess, Brooks, maybe more about that. You've been really involved in this for a long time.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to. I mean, I'm just thrilled that we're in a conversation around hope finally in this disease. You know, there's 6.7 million Americans living with Alzheimer's. 2/3 of them are women. Women in their 60s are more likely to get Alzheimer's than breast cancer. And like, that's the narrative that's been out there in the world for a long time. For years, there were no treatments. For years, it went undetected or undiagnosed until it was too late for treatment. And in the last few years, a few major things have happened. Number one, there have been more prevention studies than ever before, meaning people are actually being studied. How can we stave off the risk of Alzheimer's disease? You know, Alzheimer's disease is the most common form of dementia. Dementia is kind of the umbrella term, like cancer, and then you have breast cancer, right? So when you think about Alzheimer's disease, the studies are actually showing that lifestyle really does make a difference, and up to 40% of cases can actually be slowed or prevented through things like 30 minutes of exercise a day, eating well, getting enough sleep, interacting with friends, learning something new, managing your chronic conditions. So there are actually 14 risk factors. Managing hearing loss, which is one that not a lot of people know about.
If you have hearing loss, about that.
Yeah. And so, and what's so exciting about these conversations that are happening in brain health is that if we can identify Alzheimer's disease or mild cognitive decline earlier, the treatments that have now been approved by the FDA actually are intended for the earliest stages. So, you know, nobody is saying, great news, stage 3 in cancer, right? But literally we were allowing older adults to be diagnosed far too late in this disease. So we really at Moorlow want to be at the center of this conversation and allow people to talk about their brain health. Our brains are our most vital organ, yet they're the least talked about topic in our conversations with girlfriends at the dinner table around the holiday time. You know, we want to break that stigma. And so in all of our packaging, in every time you receive your Moorlow item, you get a brain health tip. And it's written in a fun, approachable, clever way to kind of make it a little easier. So we don't have to be so scared to have these conversations. You know, women are talking about their heart health all the time. In February, women are wearing red dresses. Well, we want to break that stigma with brain health. And we think we have an opportunity to do that through joy, through storytelling, through putting messages out there that are approachable and allow for women to really see that they can do something. And when we marry that with pickleball, think about pickleball. It's fun. You do it with friends. It's at least 30 minutes. You're learning something new. Learning how to keep score isn't easy. Like all those things are good for your brain. And so it's not just a whimsical idea. It's actually real. And there have been increasing studies out there showing that racket sports actually do support your brain health. And so we feel like with all the innovation and therapies, and there's this new blood test that was just cleared by the FDA to help diagnose Alzheimer's, and a growing sentiment in America that people want to get that blood test because there are now things you can do to support your brain health, even with a diagnosis of Alzheimer's or dementia. So we're super excited about it. And we believe that research has to continue. And that's why, and education has to continue. So that's why, in pickleball, you win by 2. And so we're donating $2 with every purchase back to 2 charities. One is the Bright Focus Foundation, and they have been around for 50 years. They're based right here in Maryland, and they support the most innovative what-if ideas in Alzheimer's research. And 60% of the scientists they fund are women. So we felt like that had great brand alignment with us. And we're also partnering with Hilarity for Charity, which is founded by Seth Rogen and Lauren Miller Rogen, who founded this organization to bring light to Alzheimer's. They're using humor and comedy. That's their bailiwick. And they formed this group after they managed the caregiving for Lauren's mom, who had early onset Alzheimer's disease. So we feel like partnering with these two groups right out of the gate, is really meaningful. And we think it's meaningful to our customers.
And I will say this too, because Sondra, you always do it so eloquently. Tell her about
to do the same thing. Yep. We wanted to add to tie into the brain health component. I literally was about to Holly. This is how we know each other so well. I wanted to tie in from a product standpoint. Our signature print is the rally print, but it emulates a brainwave and also the bounce of a pickleball, so that we actually put our mission to support brain health and education into our product. So that's why our signature print's very near and dear to us. It really does carry our message and our charitable component along with our product.
And I interviewed Dr. Susanna Greer of the V Foundation, and we talked about screening and testing. And she's like, ladies, when you're at happy hour, you need to be talking about colonoscopies and mammograms. And now we're going to talk about brain health. Like, it's up to us. And again, I think as we're older, we don't care what our friends think. And I'm all over my friends. Like, did you get your colonoscopy? Have you done it yet? We'll be at dinner talking about this. But you being somebody a little bit younger, we put the onus on you all. Like, now, the more you all can talk about it at a younger age, because with these blood tests, if we can find out in our 30s or 40s or 50s that we're predisposed to it, there's a lot we can do.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I will say, even at my age, I'm in my later 30s, but even around our, wine chats, it's, we do talk about mammograms. We do talk about, our brain. Oh, yes, there's a lot of health, because we are in a much more health conscious society. Age kind of aside, everyone is kind of, all generations are really concerned about their health, because they're seeing, what helps you decline in your health and in your brain health, in your heart. And there's a lot of things that people can tell that can really help early on. And if you get ahead of it early on, your chances of living longer are better. So a lot of people my age are realizing there's a lot we can do starting now to help us live longer lives, especially when you have little babies. I've got almost a 2-year-old. I want to live as long as I can. I have a 6-year-old. I want to live as long as I can for them. And why not start now if I have the resources?
And it is interesting there, because there is so much on social media and we have access to so much information. My daughter's 25 and she was having a little bit of a medical problem, and she saw something on TikTok. And, she called me, she's like, Mom, I think I need to see a doctor about this. And everything was fine. But again, when I was 25, I would have never thought, I would not have known anything like that. So I agree with you. I think we have access to this, and I love what you guys are doing. I love the health tips. I didn't read that anywhere. So that's fantastic that you put that in there.
Yeah, because, I think one of the big things that we know in this field, especially, is that it's going to take the empowered consumer to ask for that blood test, to ask for that baseline brain check, and because not everybody's doing it. Primary care isn't doing it. It takes a long time to get to a neurologist. So part of the mission at Moorlow is to empower women to ask for what they need around their health, around their brain health, because it's going to take, like any public health cause, it's going to take consumers to be empowered and ask their doctor.
And that is such an important thing too. I tell people this all the time. You have to be your own health advocate.
Absolutely.
Don't just let a doctor say, oh, it's this. No, I really think there's something else going on. Like, you really have to push and push. And my husband just went through that. I mean, he pushed until the doctor finally said, fine, I'll write a script for you to take this test. But sometimes you have to get to the point where you make the doctor mad.
And not let them blow you off, right? I mean, it's not of our age. It's not just brain fog or, it's just hormones. It could be that, but it could be other things too. So we have to take care of ourselves and ask for what we need, for sure.
And we have a resource now to do it. We have this blood test, which is exciting. Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I ask all my guests this. Sondra, we'll decide what question we'll ask you. I have one for you. But Holly, if you could go back and tell your 30-year-old Holly something, that, because everything you've lived to this point right now, what would you tell her?
I would say just keep doing what you're doing, sister. I don't look back and regret it all, because everything that happened along the way was supposed to happen, and it got me to where I am. And we all make good decisions, bad decisions, but they're your decisions. And I would just say, keep believing in who you are and don't let fear stop you. I would go back to what Leslie said to me at that board meeting. Holly, just do it. And I think that has really served me well through my life. I think it will continue to. And I guess I would always say, and I do this anyway, but I would just reaffirm to myself, choose happy. It's a choice. It's a choice. You choose joy. I mean, life is hard and things are going to come your way. And it's all about how you frame them, how you look at them, and you allow yourself the time to feel however you feel, but then you get up and you keep going. And I always say, think about those people that passed on dessert on the Titanic. I mean,
right.
You should have just had it. Because who knows what tomorrow brings, Christina? I'm going to live for today. And I would tell Holly in her 30s to do the same.
And if we didn't learn that through COVID, my word of the year in 2020 was joy. When COVID started, I'm like, I'm not going to do anything or be with anyone that doesn't bring me joy. And it was such a good mantra. I carried it over for 2021. So that is, and it really has become my post 50. I don't want to work with people that don't make me happy. I don't want to do things that don't make me happy. So that's great advice. Brooks, what would you tell your 30-year-old self?
Well, I think I would say similarly to Holly, like, keep taking risks, keep learning. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. I tell my kids who are adult children, but I've been telling them their whole lives, like, I 100% know you're going to make a mistake. Today, tomorrow, this week, every day. It's what you do with it. It's what did you learn and what do you do next? And what do you have to do so you prevent that mistake next time? And so, I really just believe I'm a huge fan of Brene Brown and stepping into the arena. I just feel like we just got to keep moving forward and not be afraid. Continue to take those risks, continue to learn. That's kind of my mantra. And I feel like it's forward momentum is really important. And, and not to be discouraged if everything doesn't turn out the way you had intended, right? I mean, we map out a plan for how we're going to grow the business. We have expectations on how that's going to look and feel and what the pace is going to be. And then you have to kind of keep trying and see what happens. And I just believe in it. And I believe in this team. And I would just tell a younger Brooks to keep going.
I always say this, entrepreneurship is like a pinball machine.
Yeah.
You're just bing, 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 bing. You've got to be open to, and failure is not bad because that's how you get to your next success.
And it's how you respond, right? It's like, okay, this happened. So what did I learn? And I mean, I'm not saying we're always zen when there's a problem or a mistake.
Oh, come on. You're the most zen of all of us.
So, yes. But I definitely feel like everything is, figure outable. I think that's Marie, I forget her last name right now. She has a book that says everything is figure outable. And we say that a lot too. And I think it's really true.
Yeah.
Batman said it's only impossible until someone does it.
Yes. There you go. There you go. And Sondra, where do you see yourself? Your late 30s. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Well, she hopes she looks as good as we do.
Exactly. Well,
only hope. I can only hope. In 10 years. Well, I hope Moorlow is a ravishing success, maybe even acquired by somebody at that point. The three of us are cheersing on our private island. But seriously, I do hope that obviously Moorlow takes off, and that is our end goal, is to eventually be acquired. And then, from there, honestly, for me, seeing what's the next entrepreneur step, seeing Moorlow through and having it teach me everything it already has. I can only imagine in 10 years from now what I'm going to learn through this company, and then maybe putting that into another company and, taking all of my knowledge and doing it into another one. I kind of want to keep the path of entrepreneurship going and learning and growing and just seeing where that takes me, and especially in the fashion industry. But I don't see myself stopping the entrepreneur path in 10 years necessarily. I hope
you won't.
No, I won't.
You're in.
It's
you
kind
won't.
of like, you get bit by the bug, and it's a crazy bug. It's, but it's a bug, and it's been a ride, but it's a very exciting ride. Every day is different, and I love that energy. You never really know what's going to happen. And having worked at a company that for so many years where a lot of things were similar, but this is a totally different, like Holly said, not knowing if we're going to have to get on a 10 p.m. call with China today or, or what the day takes us. And I think that that's been one, it's helped my brain health for sure. But I also just love, this whole new world and learning how to problem solve even quicker than I ever thought I'd ever have to problem solve, and be very creative with problem solving. So I hope that in 10 years, I'm that much more knowledgeable and honestly that much more confident in my ability to be an entrepreneur.
You will be. You will be. So everybody watching and listening, please share this episode. If you have friends who are reinventing, who have this big idea and think, oh, I'm too old or I could never do this. I mean, take the advice from these women. They just dove in and they're absolutely right. Your network is your net worth. So who do you know who can help you get there? So ladies, thank you so much for joining me. Big success with Moorlow. We'll have all the links in the show notes, and I've already sent it to all my pickleball girls. But the fashion line is beautiful, so check it out. And if you like pickleball and want to help out with Alzheimer's, brain health, you can do it all in one.
You can be on Team Moorlow and help make fashion fun and health the point.
Love it. We'll end on that. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening or for watching this episode of Living Ageless and Bold. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit subscribe. And if you like the episode, I hope that you will give us a great review. You can also head over to livingagelessandbold.com and sign up for information, inspiration, and exclusive opportunities for us, women over 55. Thanks for listening. And remember, no matter what you do, keep living ageless and bold.